Hi, I'm Georgette Farkas. You're here in my home kitchen, but I guess the outdoor version on my terrace. Welcome to Hospitality at Home with great performances. We're all about entertaining, and we're going to give you some fun, easy tips for make-ahead dishes that will make your summer entertaining bright and easy. So we're starting with what I call my world tour of brochettes. So we've got 3 different varieties. These can all be assembled the day ahead. Left to season in their marinade to make them delicious. You can marinate them day ahead, marinate overnight. So let's see. The first one is my favorite region, Provence. This has herbe de Provence, lemon, garlic, olive oil, of course. The next one takes us to the east. This is miso, ginger, Thai chili, and we have on here chicken green peppers and some Japanese eggplant. Here are our marinade ingredients. So soy, rice wine vinegar, honey, miso, Thai chili, ginger, cilantro, of course a bit of garlic. Finally, we're coming back to Europe. This is a Spanish inspiration. This is shrimp with sweet red and yellow peppers, chorizo, sweet paprika, and of course some saffron, and there's a bit of tomato paste in there as well. So the ingredients on the brochette, again, summer, zucchini, of course. I do like them on the smaller, narrower side, and I've just cut them. The point is, again, fairly even sizes. It doesn't matter what size you choose, but even sizes so they'll cook in the same amount of time. And I've chosen to do some pearl onions. You can usually buy them in the store already blanched and peeled, so definitely do that if you find them. But if you need to do it yourself, you'll be starting with pearl onions like that. These I've already blanched and peeled, but I'll just show you. Here's one that's blanched, not peeled. I'm just going to cut off that little bit of end there, and that is going to help me to peel away the skin. And it will be ready to go onto my brochette. So as long as you blanch, don't try to do this without blanching them first. It will just be painful. Like I said, buy them already peeled if you find them at the store, but otherwise, there you go. Once they're blanched, it's also nice to blanch them because they'll be much tastier, a little bit cooked, a little bit soft, not to mention easier to put on your brochette. So there we go. Zucchini, pearl onions, and our marinade that is made with olive oil, herbe de Provence. Herbe de Provence, this is a classic Southern French mixture. Rosemary, thyme, fennel seed, a drop of lavender. There you go. So we're going to get to work assembling some brochettes, but the first step is to decide what sort of chicken you're going to put on it. Personally, my first choice here would be chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, and you can buy them that way at the supermarket. So I've got some right here, but you do have some other options. First of all, I would choose chicken thighs. The dark meat just tends to be a bit juicier. It's got a little bit more fat on it, so that means on the grill it's not going to get as dry. So there we've got a nice chicken thigh. Other options, this chicken thigh, as you can see, is bone in, skin on. We'll go to work on that. We've also got a chicken breast here. So for this chicken breast, I've got a butcher's knife here, which means you just sort of get a little closer into the, you just really want to, I want to show you, you just want to follow, you're just following, you're just letting your knife guide you, you're just following the bone. There we go, working around that. Save these bones for making stock, chicken soup. I've always got a bag of them collecting in my freezer, and when I get a decent amount, time to make soup. Even in the summertime, you always need a good stock. So there we go. Now here also, to make these brochettes, we're going to do them without the skin. So you've got these bits. You can leave a little fat on there, but I'll take that big piece off. So we want to get fairly even pieces. You're always going to have some odd pieces that aren't going to be suited to the brochette. Don't discard them. Great for a stir fry, even a bolognese, a lasagna. You could make a chicken mousse terrine. I think, and assemble them in your freezer in a Ziploc bag. And when you've got a bunch, it's time to make a great stir fry. So my goal again is to get some fairly even pieces. So There we go. Now I'm at fairly even width, so got a nice piece under here. That's a little bit thin, so it's going to end up getting folded over. Those might go together. Here. There we go. So I've got some nice, pretty even pieces. I've got them marinating here. So now we've got our chicken thigh. It's got the skin on, it's got the bone in. So again, you're just going to use any sharp knife. It'll be the sharper your knife, the much easier it will be. Your knife is you're just going to let the bone be your guide. Go right around it. Again, that's not going to be discarded. That's going to go into my chicken soup making bits. I'm going to remove this skin only because I think that would possibly burn on the grill and not cook at the same time as the meat. So there we go. Now, so once you've got that thigh done, and if you buy already done thighs, you'll see here's a thigh that I purchased already boned out, no bone in there. So not so different from the one I just boned myself. Well, this was from a bigger bird. So there we go. That's going to be a little bit uneven, so I'm just going to even it out. Save this with my scraps for my stir fry or my soup. Another little tip, it'll be a little easier to cut. Actually, if you just freeze it for a couple minutes first, the more firm and solid it is, just the easier to cut. Again, the goal is to get fairly even sized pieces so that they cook in the same amount of time. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so we're going to assemble these brochettes finally. In order to do that, let's pick the right sort of brochette. So I've got a whole bunch here just to show you some differences. For me, the best possible version are these flat brochettes. What will happen is when you're turning your brochettes on the grill, things won't flip around. They'll stay in the position that you loaded them on, and everything will stay nice and in place. So definitely look for these flat brochettes. You can see that. Here's another flat brochette, not quite as wide a surface, so best, pretty darn good. This is a round brochette, but it's nice and solid and thick, so that will do a pretty good job as well. So I would say choice number 3, not great. These skinny ones, things will just flop around and it won't hold up so well. You are going to soak them in water before you load up your brochettes. I thought I would show you a metal one as well. Of course, nice that it is reusable, but doesn't have that nice flat surface. So, time to load up the brochette. So my brochette ingredients, brochette, skewer, you can call it what you like. They've been marinating in their olive oil, herbe de Provence, garlic, a bit of lemon. I'm going to start with zucchini. I've had these marinating overnight for the most part. A couple of hours will do, but so got a piece of chicken here. You'll see I'm going to load it in nice and tight. I'm really going to squeeze things together there. Go digging for a pearl onion. I'm choosing to do these not through the base of the onion, but just along the side. Again, I think it's going to stay put a little better that way. And the fact that I've cooked them a little bit makes it easier to get them on there. Again, nice and tight. I'm going to repeat my zucchini. And a nice big got my chicken here. Little renegade piece. Some more zucchini. Get another pearl onion on there. More zucchini. another nice healthy sized piece of chicken. And you'll see I'm getting them in nice and tight there. There you go. So let's go to the grill. Okay, we're going to get this brochette grilling party started. I can see my coals are nice and gray, and also if I hold my hand over it, I can't count to 5. Got to pull away. If you can count past 5, it's not hot enough yet, but this one is really good to go. So I'm making sure that my brochettes are nice and tightly packed, and I'm going to put them on the grill perpendicular to the grating. And it always tells you when it's ready. You can definitely hear the sizzle. So there we go. Tightly pack those in. Throw on a few more for good measure. Why not? All right. Now the key thing about grilling, or even on the stove top, resist the temptation to start fidgeting and moving them around. You want them to get a nice good sear, and they'll tell you when they're ready, because when they're no longer sticking to the griddle, it's pretty much telling you that that side is done. So I'm going to cover it for just a moment. I've got the vent open so that it's still getting air, so that the coals can continue to heat and remain consistently hot. We'll give that just probably about 4 or 5 minutes on each side. When it comes to hospitality at home, we want to build in lots of flavor, but we want to make it as simple, easy as possible, especially in summertime. So what we've done for each one of these brochettes, we created a side dish made with the exact same ingredients, so the flavors marry well together, and as you're prepping for the brochette, you're also prepping for your side dish. So in the spirit of Provence, these brochettes made with zucchini and pearl onions. The seasonings are herbe de Provence, some garlic confit, just slowly cooked in olive oil, lemon, rosemary, and we're going to serve that alongside some roasted cherry tomatoes. Simple as can be, can also be made the day ahead. Simply have your cherry tomatoes, toss in some olive oil with herbe de Provence. I have some lovely sprigs of fresh thyme, a bit of garlic, salt and pepper. Wonderful side dish. Just have roasted cherry tomatoes. So now this version is taking us to Spain. This is our shrimp with chorizo and sweet red and yellow peppers. So Spanish flavors. We have some smoky paprika, we have some saffron, bit of tomato paste, some lovely chorizo, one of my favorite, picking up on that smoky flavor. And the side dish to go with this, we prepared an orzo with the exact same ingredients. So it's one series of prep, 2 dishes, your protein and your side dish. So the orzo also has these same cipollini onions, the roasted peppers, and all of the same seasonings, the saffron and paprika and a bit of tomato. There we go. Now, this version that takes us to the east, again, a chicken brochette with green peppers and some Japanese eggplant. The marinade is made with soy, rice vinegar, some Thai chili, some honey, some white miso, lots of ginger, a little bit of garlic, and some cilantro. And then again, we prepared a side dish that will marry beautifully with this. We simply made a nice crunchy summer slaw with the same exact flavor profile. So you can prepare your marinade and prepare your slaw with the same ingredients and the same marinade. So here you could use so many different vegetables, but here we have some red cabbage, some carrot, a bit of kale. You could use greens like Swiss chard. Use what you got. All right, well, these brochettes have been cooking about 5 minutes on each side. I can also just tell from looking, they've got a really lovely char on them. So a few different ways to test this. With a little experience, the push test will tell you that when it bounces back that it's done. If you want to be super sure, you could use a meat thermometer and put it in there and make sure that it's at 165. But a good solid over a hot grill, good solid 5 minutes on each side, you should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and get these onto platter. Here's where even I need the glove. Just going to layer these up here, creates a little bit of drama. All right, well, there's nothing like beautifully charred meat that just makes your mouth water. I can't wait to dig into these, but one or two more steps. So when we made the marinade, we made some extra so that we could create a sort of dressing to finish this with. I have some freshly chopped herbs. Use what you've got in your garden: parsley, basil, rosemary. I'm just going to fill this up. It's going to be almost equal parts olive oil, lemon, and these lovely fresh greens. So just mixing that in. Olive oil, lemon, herbe de Provence, and then the fresh herbs that I've thrown in. Like I said, anything you've got in your garden or what you happen to pick up at the farm stand. And that's going to go in just at the last minute to make sure it's nice and bright and fresh. Now we roasted some cherry tomatoes. Again, same flavor profile, same ingredients. Olive oil, herbe de Provence, just a little bit of garlic. And they're just so full of flavor right now. So I've got my brochettes lined up on these two different trays. Any shape you like, but it's nice to always choose trays that give you plenty of room for your food. It makes for a much lovelier presentation to have white space around it and to not have the food crowded. So my cherry tomatoes essentially become the side dish. They're so tasty, and they're just also just a beautiful pop of color. And so simple, literally. Sheet tray in the oven, olive oil, herbe de Provence, salt and pepper, just a touch of garlic, not too much. And these don't need to be warm. You could make them that day, that morning. You could even roast them the day before. They'll be delicious even a few hours out of the oven, as these are. And they'll add just a lovely note of sweetness, a little bit of acidity, a little bit of sweetness to this dish. Also, they'll add a nice juiciness. They're almost like, it's almost like adding a sauce actually, because the tomatoes are nice and soft and will really melt in your mouth. So a bite of nicely charred grilled chicken, a bite of cherry tomato, and it'll be good to go. So we've got our dressing here, olive oil, lots of lemon zest as well. Just going to drizzle it over. Just gives it a lovely freshness to put some right over the top there. You could bring some to the table for your guests as well if they'd like to add a little extra, but putting a really nice, generous helping. So it's almost like a Provençal chimichurri. Like I said, any herbs in your garden, parsley, basil, rosemary, thyme, and you really just can't have enough. Ooh, a little bit here. And so simple. They'll think there's a chef in your kitchen. I'm also going to add just a little bit of fresh arugula because I crave fresh greens, and it brings any dish to light. You could use any sort of greens, but I think the bitterness of the arugula is going to add just a nice contrast to these lovely sweet cherry tomatoes. And it's going to dress up our prep platter beautifully. Same here. Beautiful plating is, of course, the flavors matter most and the way the food is cooked, but contrasts of color will make for really lovely arrangements. So there you go. And that arugula is going to benefit from all the lovely juices of the cherry tomatoes and the dressing that we've just spooned over the top. Okay, so now let's come to our Spanish chorizo, paprika, saffron. So again, we've made a sauce with those same ingredients. Let's give it a lovely finishing touch. Can't have enough of that saffron, smoked paprika. There we go. Let's give it a little, again, herbs from the garden, a little fresh, bright green. Now, last but not least, our marinade becomes a sauce, all about easy summer entertaining. So lots of ginger, a little bit of garlic, miso, soy, sesame, a little bit of Thai chili for a little bit of kick. So easy entertaining. The marinade becomes the sauce. But of course, this is a marinade that was kept apart, that wasn't on the meat. We prepared our slaw with the same exact ingredients, minus the sesame oil, because your slaw, you really just want it to marinate overnight in the vinegar and soy. This has a nice bright crunch to it. So I used here red cabbage, carrot, kale. These are the ingredients that I had from Kachki Farm, the farm of great performances. You could put daikon, you could use any greens, any kind of cabbage, crispy vegetables. Carrot really gives it a nice. There we go, hospitality at home. We have our Herbe de Provence brochette, Herbe de Provence lemon garlic, and some simply roasted cherry tomatoes. We have our Spanish-style shrimp brochette with sweet red and yellow peppers, smoked paprika, saffron, and we've made an orzo salad with those same ingredients, so everything works together. It is so easy to prepare with the same ingredients. And finally, we travel a little bit to the east, and we have here another chicken brochette with a soy, miso, ginger, Thai chili marinade, and a slaw made with those same exact ingredients. And I'm just finishing with a little bit of fresh cilantro from the garden. Hospitality at home with great performances. I wish you a wonderful summer, and I hope you'll make some of these brochettes when you're next entertaining.